Hello, hello. My name is Nicole Gonzalez. I'm one of the partners here at Prospera Key. I'm just double checking on my other system to make sure that everything is functioning properly. And I wanted to start this conversation with welcoming you guys to our weekly live. We're actually here with Daniela Science, our guest speaker for today. I'm going to give Daniela the opportunity to introduce herself quickly, and then we're going to get into the hot topic of this week.
Hi, everyone. Just like Nicole, I'm one of the partners here. My name is Daniela Science. I've been in the financial industry for almost 8 years now, tax industry about 7. I'm super excited to be here and be able to talk about this very important topic that a lot of people sometimes miss. So excited to be here with Nicole.
Yes. So, okay, I double checked everything is functioning on my end, which is good. I have to talk about it because the last two lives we've been having technical difficulties, but hopefully this has officially fixed the issue. And I hope you guys can hear us. And feel free to drop a comment and questions about the hot topic that we have today. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about what counts as 1099 or side hustle income. All of the people that are, cash workers that get paid under the table, that have the 1099s from a job that they consider a normal job, but not their self-employed business, right? And any side hustles, even like the difference between a side hustle and a hobby. So I am going to just open it up and tell you what that really means. If you are one of those people, these are people that might come across different industries and you'd kind of be surprised. So actually, let me ask Daniela, Danny, what are some common jobs or side hustles that require a Schedule C that people don't even realize qualify?
So anything that you're really earning like income independently, like meaning like you're not a W-2 employee, usually is going to require a Schedule C. And some examples of that would be, let's just say you have your Uber drivers, your Lyft drivers, DoorDash, hairstylists, nail techs, realtors, content creators, freelancers, just to name a few. And then even people doing like small online services count to have like a Schedule C on their return.
Very true. And can you explain to me before we dive deeper in this conversation, what is a Schedule C?
So a Schedule C, this form is for people that, like we were just mentioning, like people that have side hustles or earn cash income or are also like 1099 workers. And it gives them the ability to then just reduce their like tax liability by putting expenses that they had for these types of jobs that they did on the side. So I can give you an example. Let's just say we have an Uber driver. Some Uber drivers are going to get either a 1099 NEC or a 1099K, or depending on the amount of income that they made, or they'll just get a summary report at the end of the year. But for those miles that they drove and the money that they made with Uber, they can then do a Schedule C on their return and reduce any expenses like, let's just say, mileage. Or let's just say that they did, if we're not going based on miles and we're doing like actual like expenses, we can put repairs and maintenance, also gas, tolls, certain things like that. So it's just a really, really good opportunity for people to then just reduce how much taxes they owe, and then either gain a little bit back or reduce, like I just said, what they owe.
Yeah. And I mean, can you, and I know that we have a set of questions or whatever, but I was realizing if you could set the table, if I am an individual that has a side business, that has a cash business or a 1099 or a side hustle, am I an average client? Do I do it in a business taxes or do I do it in my personal taxes? Like, what is the whole deal with that?
So can you repeat that question? Because I got a message from one of the agents and I was like looking at it. My bad. I need to be
No
focused.
worries. No worries, no worries. So when it comes to individuals, right, that do have these 1099s, the side hustle, the cash business, that are self-employed, am I considered a normal client, or do I do it personal in my personal taxes? Do I do it in my business taxes? Like, what is the whole deal with being self-employed business owner?
So there's two ways to explain this. You are a normal client, but with a little bit more extra. Let's just say that. It's like a combination of things. So it's like you don't have to do a separate business return. Separate business returns, we can go in a deep dive on that too. It's just if you're like an S corp or like a partnership or a corporation, that's when you would have to do like an actual like outside business return. But for people that are independent like workers, or you get those 1099s, you put this Schedule C, which is then makes it kind of like you have an individual tax return with a business return all in one. And you do it on your personal taxes. So yes, you're considered kind of like, a normal client, but at the end of the day, not really, because we have to do a little bit of extra work to help you through that process of that Schedule C.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, I'm glad that you cleared that up, because a lot of people come to me, they come to you, they come to all of our agents, and they think that they are a simple client. And I am saying right now that you are not a simple client. You would think so, but I think it's kind of funny because a lot of people in the industry, they don't realize that they are 1099. This whole time they're thinking they're a W-2 employee. They receive a 1099, and then they file with whoever or file on their own, and they don't realize how to utilize it the proper way. And they do miss out on some benefits. But if you fall under any of those categories, you're not a simple client, but you kind of are. I think you want to add to that.
I think another thing I want to mention, because I got this question today. They're like, oh, I opened up my LLC, so now I'm going to be able to owe less taxes because, they already work 1099. And she's like, I opened up my LLC, so now it's different. Now I'm going to owe less taxes. I'm like, no, not really. Because if you're a single member LLC, that information is still going to go on a regular Schedule C. So at the end of the day, it's almost the same thing. The only thing now is that you have the protection of your LLC, now that you have that legitimate company, but it's still the same process. I was telling this client of mine. So just know that if you are a single member LLC, you would be going through the process of a Schedule C as well.
Yeah, very true. I think a lot of people confuse that, especially like when you get an LLC, what you just said, it protects your personal assets from your business assets. That's literally what it is. It's official. There's another question that popped up in my head. Do I have to have this Schedule C if my business isn't like formulated in the state, legitimate, quote unquote? Or is that only for the people with LLCs?
No, you don't have to. It's not mandatory to have like a legitimate LLC or a legitimate business, put together in order to do a Schedule C. So examples that I can give, people that do cash work, that work under the table, you would put that income on a Schedule C, and whatever expenses, if you did have any expenses for that type of job, we would put them on there as well. So no, it could be either or.
Yeah, so I know these questions are repetitive, but it's like some people ask the same question in different ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they think that the answer is different, and that's not the case. So, let's go into another, topic of why is it important to report the 1099 income, or why is it important why can't I just take the cash and not have to report it?
So first, when it comes to 1099 income, no matter how small it is, as you're like, oh, it's only $1,000. Is it going to make a difference in reality? It does at the end of the day. But those 1099 next that people get, or 1099Ks or 1099 miscellaneous that report these like side hustle incomes, if you get one, just know that the IRS has already also received a copy of those 1099s. So if the income is missing, it can also trigger like a notice or even an audit later. Maybe not now, maybe 3 years from now. And then you're going to get a letter saying, oh, you misreported your income, and the income, there's discrepancies on your return. And then it's going to say you're owing, and then you're going to go like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is happening, right? So it's always just better to report it properly from the get-go, and deduct your expenses, than just ignore it. So just very important. if you do get an like, let's just say after you report your income or your taxes, another 1099 or anything like that, or just any income form, just amend your taxes and do what's right.
Yeah, I actually had a client, she had filed everything, right? And then she received another 1099, additional to a 1099. She didn't expect it. So everything went through. It came in and she was like, well, can we just leave it off? Because, like, is it really that important? And the answer is yes. Basically what Daniela said, there's a copy to it. So make sure that you are filing. You can't withhold documents that you're supposed to file with your taxes. If that is the case, then we're going to have to amend your taxes, in other words. So now, can you explain to me, because people are thinking, oh, well, if I add side income, if I add, the cash, if I add this, if I add the 1099, it's such a negative because it's adding to my income, right? But
Mhm.
what is, it can be a negative, but that's only if you're not maximizing the opportunity to deduct expenses the right way. So going to a tax preparer that can actually offer like the correct tax strategies based off
Mhm.
of your situation. So in regards to that, how can adding these side incomes and adding all of this extra stuff on my case actually benefit me as a client or a taxpayer?
So, I mean, the good thing of this, like the Schedule C or just reducing your income, it's like, so you're taxed on your net profit more than anything. So, meaning income minus the expenses. So, let's just take, for example, someone earns $20,000 in like side income, but had like $8,000 in legitimate expenses, like business expenses, then they're only going to get taxed on $12,000, not the full 20. Another thing that I want to also bring to notice is that I love the Schedule C, especially for small business owners or anybody that does have a side hustle. Like, let's just say somebody does a nail tech or a lash tech, because it really just puts to play in reality, okay, how much money are you really making based on
Exactly.
after expenses? And it kind of just helps us then help you strategize on how to do better for next year if you're trying to gain more income, or okay, how can I, like, help myself to not owe as much taxes? So we can talk about those things. Okay, maybe let's do this type of expense, buy this, buy that. So I think it's very I like it. I like, it's a profit and loss, so it's just really just puts everything out in the open to see like where we can do better, or so on and so forth. Or is this business even worth it? Let's just say, is it taking more than what it is that making, or so on and so forth. So I mean, that would be like my take on that.
Exactly. I mean, I also wanted to say that the expenses. I think sometimes we talk to clients and we have to deep dive into like what those expenses actually are. What does count? What doesn't count? But I think that also having a tax preparer with experience, right? A tax preparer that actually knows what they're doing, that is, being up to date with tax law, tax IRS changes, and the whole nine, that are constantly in continuing education, can definitely change the way you have, your experience with filing taxes on a year-to-year basis. If you're not filing with the right person that does know how to maximize, does know how to strategize, does know how to deduct the correct expenses the right way, because there is a wrong way. Um, there is a wrong way. We have to stop right there. There is a wrong way. We have lots of people that we come across their cases, and they're not the best prepared tax filings. We'll talk a little bit about, or maybe you want
One
to
more,
talk.
no, no, one more thing. It like goes in my head. So another thing that people sometimes ask me about Schedule C is, okay, what if I had more losses than income? Do I even report that? Should I even report that? 100% yes. It's, at the end of the day, It's gonna probably help you. If you have like other income, it'll reduce the amount of taxes that you owe. So yes, if you were still at a loss at your business, you report it. You report that regardless of anything, and you'll see the difference on your return.
Mhm. I'm going to piggyback off of that question because I have another question that somebody had asked me. And I know that when I first started, I had the same question. What if my expenses were way more than the profit? I
Mhm.
mean, it's the same thing. Like, what if I didn't make any profit my first year and I spent so much in equipment or, all of the expenses? How do I even add that
No,
into
yeah,
my?
we add it. Yeah, we add it because I mean, at the end of the day, it's money that you spent on opening up that business. And like I said, let's just say if, for example, you're a W-2 and you also have that side income, or like that side business, if you are at a loss, it'll help you legitimately, and you have the record to like, prove that you were at a loss, then it can help you in some cases, reduce, like I said, the money that you're owing and then gain a little bit more when it comes to your refund. So, no, yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So basically, if the profit is zero,
Yep.
still deduct the expenses. I
Yep.
mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of business owners that just to get their business up and running, there's a lot of prep.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, there's a lot of business owners that own Airbnbs, and sometimes they have to remodel or do a lot of changes.
Landscapers is
Property.
another one. Truck
Yeah,
drivers, if they're owner operator, like there's so many. Yeah. So
exactly. Exactly, exactly. So there's like so much to it that people don't realize that even if your profit is zero, add the expenses, talk to a tax preparer. And I think a lot of people are very shy to mention, yeah, I receive cash on the side. Yeah, like it's not a negative thing always. I can't promise you that sometimes it can be negative, but sometimes it can't. The good news is that if it is negative, you're making a lot of money. That's good. you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I was gonna say that.
you're making a lot of money. So it's not a
Yeah.
negative thing. You might not have as much expenses to like balance it out, but high income, that's good. But it can be a positive. So even being at a loss, not making any profit, or having some profit and a lot of expenses, please utilize a tax preparer that can maximize the use of a Schedule C form. Lastly, I want to talk about the common expenses people can deduct for this Schedule C, this taxes. Onto their taxes to deduct or even reduce their profit. So if you, I'm sorry, not your profit, your gross income. Now, what are those examples of expenses?
There's so many, so many, but just to name a few, you can have mileage, anything when it comes to your vehicle, use, also supplies and materials, let's just say office supplies, equipment, marketing and advertising, phone and internet, business portion, if you work from home and you do the business from home office also, like Nicole right now, she is at her home office, and so whatever expenses that she incurs throughout like her doing the business, she can deduct a portion of that, which is awesome. Also software subscriptions, anything educational related to the business. So let's just say if I have to go like to a conference, to like, expand my knowledge in taxes and so on and so forth, I can reduce that or deduct that as an expense on my taxes as well. But that's just to name a couple, but there's so many, so many that people can, sometimes even forget.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you would think of like even the tiniest things that you would have never thought about. I think food is a big one when you're like traveling, specifically for business. Let's be, correct or
Mhm.
food for business if you're meeting with a client. Oh, here's a big one. I think a lot of people confuse, and this has been up, like it has come up a lot. If I am self-employed, I'm utilizing the Schedule C. Would my drive to the office and back be considered as what I can deduct for mileage?
No. So if you're driving from home to work and then work from home, Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
No, that doesn't count. I wish. That'd be awesome, right? But no,
Yeah.
that doesn't count at all. It's mileage. Like, if you have to, let's just say I have a mobile barber, he has to drive from different to different houses to go cut hair. Those miles would count. Or let's just say a life insurance agent, he has to go deliver a policy to a client. Whatever miles he drove to that client's like house and back, then that's what counts. But me driving from like my house to, let's just say, my office, that does not count.
I wish. I mean, but then again, my office is
You're lucky. It's like you're there.
you know, if I could count the mileage or the walk from one room to my other room, I guess I can deduct that, but no. But I wanted to ask you, in regards to all of these things, and we're talking about when it comes to the Schedule C, what should you be doing on a yearly basis? What are the important things that you should consider when you do your Schedule C for the first time, and then you continue to do it on a yearly basis to really maximize it the best way possible? And what are the supporting documents that have to, follow what you are declaring on your taxes?
So, what I suggest is tracking everything the best way possible. And if you can't, then get a bookkeeper, somebody that can do your bookkeeping for you. Because I always tell my clients, especially my small business owners, I'm like, I don't want you to be tracking your own expenses. What you should be worried about is just running your business and like expanding your business. Like, let us handle that. We'll handle your bookkeeping, and you'll all you have to do is just do this, that, and we got it, and we'll organize everything for you. Because whenever you do have a bookkeeper on hand or on deck, I mean, I know not everybody can afford one, but there's ways, right, to like that we can help you in those aspects. But it just makes it a little bit easier for you, because what I expect people to track is, like, let's just say anything. Receipts are very important for you more than anything for the client to have. You don't have to really give me the receipts. What I need is a list of categorized of like all the expenses that you had. So it's very important to track everything properly. Also, understanding, like, okay, if you know that a business makes money every year and you're more at a what's it called, at a profit than at a loss, understanding estimated payments around taxes, so then you can pay up front, so then you don't owe anything when you do your taxes. I don't know, there's just so many things. And then another thing that it's very important to also suggest, separating personal and business. I see a lot of people that commingle everything in one account. And when sometimes, especially if it's somebody new that comes to me and they give me bank statements, I'm like, so is this all business expenses, or or is there a little bit of everything? Oh yeah, I do everything with this account. I'm like, I'm like, okay, no, this is like red flag. If you want to have a smoother process, stress free, I suggest opening two accounts, one for the business, one for personal, and stick to that being how it is. Because if not, it's gonna get a little like hectic for you, and we don't want that for you. But um, and then I don't know. I'll let you talk more. I'll let you talk and put your 2 cents into it too.
No, it's true. I mean, honestly, like I wanted you to come on. If you don't know, Daniela, she is the reason why all of our tax agents know what they know. She is our tax expert here. She's been leading the forefront when it comes to all of our tax workshops, and she has taught hundreds of tax preparers to this point. So, and soon to be thousands. Okay. So, no, truly, I appreciate Daniela for coming on, because she truly is somebody that embodies fully understanding an industry and doing everything that she can to research and be up to date with tax law, all the changes with the IRS. And she is the number one. I mean, if you like our agents, they have a group chat with us, and she is the one that is running the show. All of the questions, she's responding very quickly. And just to give you an idea, Daniela truly is the reason why our agents are so successful with Prospera Key, and filing taxes and helping maximize refunds and more than that. So
Okay. Don't give me all of like the praise here, because
no,
it's not just
but
something that I do by myself, guys. This is something that we do as a team. We all of the partners help, all of them. Like we wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for all of us. Okay. So yes, I do my part with the division, but everybody helps when it comes to all of it. Our agents wouldn't be successful if it weren't for all of our partners. And Nicole doesn't give herself enough flowers, but if it weren't for her, we wouldn't be where we are as a company when it comes to our marketing. She also even helps with the tax workshops for taxes. So don't get it twisted. Nicole knows what she's talking about. So no, so I appreciate the partnership that we all have here, because if it weren't for us all working together so smoothly and so like amazingly, like we wouldn't have our company the way we have it. So don't just put it out. I'm just putting it out there.
No, I'm not, because I always want to really just like emphasize the beautiful thing that we have going over here. It's amazing. Our agents are just on fire. Our managers are on fire. Our admin team is on fire. Everybody's just like winning left and right. Our partners, our collaboration is on fire too. I'm so excited. Thankful for Marvin and D Del Valle as well, Malia, and Miguel Marrero for every thing that they do. They are nonstop, back to back with us in the trenches. So to be very honest, I couldn't imagine a better platform to offer for our agents here and our clients on a client side too. So if you are somebody that is interested in learning a little bit more about how to maximize the Schedule C, the side income, the hustle, the side hustle. If you have any questions that might have not been answered in this live, make sure that you send us a message directly here on Prospera Key page, and somebody will get in contact with you to answer any further questions you may have. Okay. We're also available. So if you want to reach out to us directly as well, feel free to. But more importantly, we're just here on a weekly basis. We're going to have another special guest to talk more specifically about different topics. I do believe that next week will be bookkeeping. So I'm really excited about that topic. We're going to be having a special guest with us, and they're amazing. So on top of that, I want to say, if you are somebody that needs to file their taxes, that hasn't filed their taxes, wants to get a free estimate, we're more than happy to offer free estimates. So make sure that you reach out. And if maybe this call motivated you to become a tax preparer, make sure that you reach out as well, because we do have opportunities coming up very soon. So with that being said, Daniela, do you have any final notes, any final statements?
No, I'm excited. Let's get to work. We have to go to work. We have people waiting for us.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again, Danny. And I hope everybody else has a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Bye.